And we are live. Alejandro Tornato here, coming directly from Beaufort, Georgia. And it is my delight and my pleasure to be connecting with all of you once again for another conversation with influencers. And in the past, I mean, I had guests, and this conversation with influencers is not a localized event. I mean, we are international. And today, I'm having the pleasure and a great delight, and I'm so excited. I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, I just could not wait for this time to finally be here because first of all, I have a great guest with me today, Sandy Gill, and she is coming directly from London, England, and we have a great conversation to share with all of you. And without any delay, because I don't want to keep her waiting there. I mean, she's already shouting at me, says, just bring me in. I mean, come on. So here is Sandy. So Sandy, thank you so very much. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Life's great, on top of the world all the time.
I am so looking forward, I mean, to this conversation. And for those of you, I mean, who don't know about Sandy, let me just tell you a little bit about her. I mean, she is the co-founder of Circle of Power Academy. And the mission of this Circle of Power Academy is to expand potential and transform people's lives. Now, Sandy, she has been a graduate with a degree in economics, and then she went on to get a postgrad degree in strategic communications. And as soon as you hear her, as soon as you see the content that she will share with all of us, you will find that Sandy is not just an ordinary human being, but she is an extraordinary human being with tremendous passion for leadership acceleration and development. Sandy, just before we actually delve into the topic for today, which, by the way, is taking responsibility for your own success, responsibility for your own success. But when in your life journey, when did you start developing the passion and perhaps discovering your purpose for helping people develop themselves? I mean, when did that happen in your life?
So obviously, I'm glad to have you here. Thank you for having me here, and introducing me so well. So I went into university wanting to be an investment banker. Right. So went in with the goal saying investment banking, this is it. This is my passion. This is my life. Banking. So everything that I did in my first year of university was completely for banking. Okay. So I used to do all the experience, everything for banking, but I always had something in me where I'm a very caring, supportive person. I'm the mother of the group, okay? The person that people go to, the advice giver, the supporter. And I didn't have to force that. That came very naturally to me. It came very naturally to me to put myself in people's positions and help them out of it. Okay, it was very easy for me to be empathetic in that sense, to be in that. And I don't know whether that's because I've grown up that way or just my nature and nurture has made me that way, but that was really natural for me. So I went through the journey of, like I said, investment banking, and my dad's always been an entrepreneur. We've come from Singapore, and he's always been an entrepreneur. So I've always seen him have his sort of freedom when it comes to time, when it comes to finance. And I've seen him, give back to the community, open up homeless shelters, helping the community. And I just sat with myself one day having this mental breakdown as a 19-year-old kid and thinking, what am I doing here? You know, I will suit the investment banking life. I could do that. You know, I could happily do that. But I saw that there was many people that liked what I was teaching them, you know, and liked what I was saying. And I had this sort of power that I felt that I could motivate someone to do something. Even in my darkest, lowest days, I could be that source of light and change people's directions and perspective. So that's when I had a bit of a light bulb moment, and I thought, I need to do something about this. And the first sort of step I took was people around me weren't on the same level. I was just 19 years old. Everyone at 19, first year of university is about going out, partying, enjoying life. And for me, it was very different. My enjoying life was very different. So what I wanted to do was I created a Facebook group, a community, because I wanted people similar to me, and I wanted people who wanted to achieve things as well. I wanted to, and had all these ideas. So naturally, it was people quite further on in their careers and further on in their lives, because, you know, people my age were just going out there and doing whatever they wanted to do. So that was kind of my first step of, I need people like me, and I need people who are doing what I'm doing.
Excellent, excellent. And so that gave you a sort of a clue that this was your strength zone. This when you were giving people new and fresh ideas, when you were helping people, when you were inspiring people, when you were motivating people, when in a sense, when you were mentoring people or coaching people, then you felt that was your sweet spot. And that is great, because when people find that is you could be working for 20 years as, let's say, as an investment banker, or as an accountant, or as an attorney, okay, and then all of a sudden you realize that is not, I mean, you don't have that that willingness to keep growing in that area, but there is something else that all of your life you felt passionate about, that you wanted to do, and now this is the time that you start doing it, and that's when you step into your purpose, into the thing for what.
It made me feel good every time, like when I've had a bad day, but someone comes to me with their problems, I kind of take it as a challenge, and it was a challenge for me, and it made me feel good. At the end, every time when I do, let's say, webinars like this, or every time I kind of share value or share content or try to inspire anyone, I feel so much better in myself, in my life. So it was just a calling to me to think, I feel good doing this. So I could feel good the rest of my life doing this, right? Even if no one's listening, right? I feel good doing this. And during university, I took up a public speaking sort of job, which was part of a company where we go into different schools and we kind of motivated them, taught them about some study skills and motivation. And I felt good. You know, I was in classes of over 200 children and just eagle-eyed about the world. And they were just looking up to someone slightly older than them and saying, wow, I can do this. And it was just really good. It was a really good feeling. And I'm sure you get this feeling too, Alejandro, like talking to people and sharing a difference.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is empowering. And when it comes to the topic of taking, and as a matter of fact, I mean, for the things that you already shared, I could see that you have indeed taken responsibility from the very beginning. You've taken responsibility for your success. Now, the fact is this, Sandy, you know, when we start doing something, I mean, we want to become entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, or we want to start our own business, or we want to start something new that we haven't done in the past. And we begin treading on that journey.
Yeah.
then at that point, we really don't know when success is going to happen or if it's going to happen. But uh, I think that that is when we need to begin taking responsibility for not just for the success that will be somewhere in the future if we keep doing what we're doing, but in taking responsibility for making the next step.
Yeah.
And some people, I think, they get stuck because they are thinking of step number 250 rather than just looking at the very next step that they have to make in their journey to get there. So what is your advice for people when they start something? What is the mindset that they need to have?
For me, is you owe it to yourself, right? You owe it to yourself to do this. And if you've taken, first of all, making this a decision to be an entrepreneur and to not be reliant on someone is a brave step regardless. So even if you fail down the line, it's a big step that you've taken, and it's a step that you've chosen to take, and you should never regret sort of this decision. The main thing is, for me, is you owe it to yourself. So you only have you, and you only got you, right? So you have your own back, and you have, at the end of the day, regardless of the support system you have, regardless of anything, you've only got yourself. So you got yourself, your vision for life, your mission for life, and you owe it to yourself. So for me, what I do is I obviously have my bigger vision, right? I have what I want to be, like I think I shared it once before in another interview I did, and I've left it here on purpose because I wanted to share it again. I kind of have in my journal a page of who I want people to introduce me as, okay? And some of these credentials I haven't achieved yet, but these are my long vision. Now, because this vision is so evident in my mind, I know that I owe it to myself to make it happen. So it's taking that baby steps, like you said, it's taking a step every single day, but knowing where you're heading and just believing that you've already achieved it. And I think that's what most people will say, and most successful people will say is, I believed it. Before anyone believed in me, I believed it. They sound like crazy people when they go and ask for investment, saying, I believe in this product, I believe in this product. And everyone's like, no, it won't work. But they believe it's already happened. So in their mind, it's there. It's just about time they make people believe it, but in their mind, it's already there. So just completely being in this obsessed world of, this is my goals, I'm obsessed with them, I completely believe in them, and I'm going to make it work regardless of anything, because if I don't make it work, I'll forever regret it. And if I do make it work, I'll get all the benefits that comes with that. So for me, it's taking, like I said, you owe it to yourself and taking those steps, but also knowing the bigger vision and bigger goal.
I said it many times, and sometimes, when I do coaching, I said it, to some of the clients, that if we are going to wait and expect the approval or the acceptance or the belief that other people may have in what we want to do, then we'll never do anything. We have to start with our own belief that we are able, that we are fully resourced, that we can do it. And it's just what it takes is, as one of my mentors says, it takes massive action. When you have the belief and you act on it, and you have massive action towards achieving it, and then perhaps other people will start believing in you. But if you want to start because other people will believe in you, then you'll never start.
I like this phrase where it says, winners win and losers lose, right? And no one cares about your story, about your life, about the struggles you've gone through unless you've won. Okay, we don't know the struggles of people who've lost. We don't know the struggles. What we do know, and what we get inspired by, is these celebrities or these figures of saying, this is the struggles I've been through, and look at me, because I've succeeded. If they didn't succeed, would we care? Really, as a society, we wouldn't really care, because we have seen someone come out of the darkness to be the success. So that's why we care now. And that's why we listen to these stories. And it's very self-centered as a society, but it's what we do. We care about the winners, winners win, losers lose. So your story only matters when you win. So win, so go out there and win, because that's when you can share your story. That's when you can inspire people. If you are not, and I always see people who, sometimes I tell people, some of my clients, when they have this idea planted in them, this business that they want to do, but then they don't have the fear, they have the fear to kind of go out there and fully do it. And I said, you're being really selfish, because if you're not out there showing this new product or giving out this service, then who's going to do it? You're restricting so many people from achieving success by you just being selfish and sitting down saying you can't do it. So I always think back to that, and I think, the days when I feel like quitting, let's say, and there's been many times in the past where I've thought that, I just thought, I'm being so selfish, because I could be helping so many people, and for me to just stop, it's entirely selfish of me. So yeah.
There's a powerful statement that I heard it, I guess, a few years ago, and it just got stuck in me. And it says, winners never quit, and quitters never win. And that how powerful that is, because and you said about celebrities and how they have done things, or they have done things differently from most people, and they got to that celebrity status, or if you look at perhaps a Michael Jordan in basketball, or if you look at other people in different industries, and you'll see how far they've gotten. But there's one thing that, I don't know, I mean, if you paid attention to it, but we resonate more when we hear a story of mistakes and failures than a story of grandeur and success and everything else, because that's where, in order to achieve success, we have to go through the failure step. Failure is a step towards success. And when people share their failures, that seems to resonate with us much more powerfully. Is that right?
Yeah, that is definitely right. And I think myself, I've gone through my fair share of experiences of failures. And it's sometimes, I think what people want is to know that you're human and know that you've gone through the same struggles as them as well. And I'm trying to craft in terms of my story and kind of what I want to share in terms of what's happened in my life, but I'm happy to kind of share my rough version here. But I went through a stage when I was age 11, and I was told that I had to leave my home country. Okay, so it was kind of just, it was dangerous. It was, some issues happened with my parents and the family. So it wasn't safe for me to be where I had to be. So we had to go. So at age 11, you think, where am I going? Where's my life? Where's my life heading? And my years here has been, initially, and like I said, I'm a very positive person, so I don't share this with a lot of people, and some of my closest friends don't even know this experience. But being sort of like a refuge in a sense, it kind of gives you a sense of, you have this constant fear, first of all, because obviously you've seeked out help, so you have this constant fear that comes in your head. And then you also have to change your perspective and your narrative, right? Because if all my life I've seen myself as someone who's refuge and hiding and doing all of this, I wouldn't be able to go out here and achieve my potential. And I think this is when, I know you're going to ask me later on as well, but this is when it comes to achieving my potential, because my life and people nearly stopped me from achieving my potential. So because I was nearly stopped from achieving it, this is my payback of, I am going to do whatever I can because you nearly stopped me. Whatever it may be, I was young, I still don't know half of my story that's happened, but whatever it may be that nearly stopped me, it's kind of, you don't have the power over my life, right? You may have the power sometimes over my thoughts, you may have sometimes the power over certain things, but at the end of the day, my action is my action. And I'm going to go out there and achieve it. So for me, it was kind of, my potential nearly got stopped, and I don't want that for a lot of people. So I want to kind of share with people. And this is why it's first of all, it's hard for me to share because it's my own personal story. But secondly, I do acknowledge how important it is for people to know, because if I don't share this, then people going through worst or similar situations will feel like they won't be able to kind of share this and get it out. So I'm not saying I've been through the worst, but what I'm saying is I can shed a light on those who have gone through worse. So yeah.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, that's fine. Now, share with us a little bit how the idea of the Circle of Power Academy came about, and what do you do in that? I mean, what is the Circle of Power? I love it, because Circle of Power is like a circle of your closest friends. I mean, and that gives everybody power. So what is the Circle of Power Academy?
Yeah, so the Circle of Power Academy was formed basically for that purpose. When I said I was in university and I needed my group of people, I created kind of a group called the Empowerment Club. So it was like Power Empowerment Club. And then from that, Circle of Power Academy was formed. And what we do is we do online and in person, but mainly our platforms and services are online. We have a community of inner development, personal development sessions. We do training sessions, accountability calls. We also have the entrepreneurship side of things, help people start up their businesses, help people escape the rat race and kind of get it going. What I find is there's a lot of noise out there. And kind of the main idea, what I wanted to do was, because there's so much noise, I wanted one place where I would bring in experts and I'd bring in my own kind of ideas. So there's one place where you can get all the information instead of all of the noise. And I also, do my leadership training and confidence training and stuff like that. But Circle of Power Academy, it is for that. It represents, that power circle that you have. It represents everyone in that community. And I don't want people to think that they have to be, super rich or confident, successful to be in part of a power circle. I want you to create that at the bottom and kind of build with that and grow with that and grow your circle. So that's why I've kind of created Circle of Power, where there's constant positivity, constant motivation in the circle.
Excellent. And then it says that one of the mission of that Circle of Power is to expand potential. Now, why are you concerned, or why are you empower, to expand potential in people? Do you think that people, and this is not a tricky question, but do you think that people have some kind of a limiting beliefs about their own potential, and they don't continue expanding that?
Yeah, I think one of it stemmed from, like I said, I was nearly restricted to live my potential. So I want to show to people that you should be able to do it and you should just go out for it. Secondly, it's actually close to home as well. My mom is a graduate of law, and she's got all these qualifications and she's got all of these things going for her. But she, over the years, started limiting herself. She's uber confident. If you see her in person, she's more confident than I was. I get scared sometimes of how confident the woman is. But the problem is, she, throughout the years, kind of put herself down, doubted herself, put herself down, doubted herself, and never actually did something from her own. But she's got so much, like I said, potential. And I'm just, like I said, I'm a very empathetic person. So I feel everyone's emotions around me. And I've seen some of my closest friends who have so much, right? Have so much. One is they don't believe that they can do it. And secondly, they don't even see it themselves, what they have. So that's the biggest struggle for me. It's kind of telling people, can you see what you have? You've got all of this. And a lot of people don't see the spark within you. And I always say, and you have a seed planted within you. If you've got an idea, if some sort of idea ever slipped through your mind, it was meant to come through your mind. It was meant for you. Okay, whatever idea was meant for you. Whether you take the next step forward in it or you don't, that's your choice. but that seed is there. It was meant to come for you. So I want people to first of all acknowledge that they have potential. Everyone does. Everyone's got some sort of level of things that they can achieve and some sort of level of things they can do. And the second is this limiting beliefs. People are like, I don't know if I can do it. Maybe there's someone out there that can do it. Maybe someone else can, someone else can do this instead. Or throughout their life, and this is when we come into proximity, people around them are not going out there and doing it. So because people out there are not doing it, people around them are not doing it, they think they've done the best that they can because they're the best in the group. But it's like, expand your thoughts, because you are better than this. Join a different group. You're better than this group. So it always says, isn't it? Don't try to be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, go to the other room. Yeah.
I heard that many times. Yes, yeah. It's not a good thing. Well, it is a good thing to be the smartest person in the room, okay? Because you reach a level of knowledge and wisdom and awareness. Now, what is not good is once you get to that point to stay in that room. I mean, you have to get out and then go to a room where you are close to the bottom, so you have a lot of expansion possibilities, to do. Yeah. And then there's one thing, well, there's many things that you said that are absolutely incredible, but I'm going to focus on two of them. The first one is the fact that you said that once you have a thought that comes through you, then that is the analogy of that little seed that is being seeded in your mind or in your heart. And do you think, Sandy, that if we have that seed, but if we don't take action towards growing that seed and nurturing that seed and fertilizing that seed, and we don't do anything about it, then perhaps that seed, after a time, it'll leave you and get into somebody else because it thinks that person is going to do something and take action. That's why sometimes you see people who have an idea, they don't take action on it, and then 6 months or a year later, they see the same idea being fulfilled by somebody else and says, how is that happen? Well, it happens because when that idea came to you, you did absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah. I think part of it forever stays in the person. So I think everyone, like I said, has different experiences, and the seed comes because of your different experiences and because of your thought process, right? You could read a book now, you get a totally different perspective. You read a book tomorrow, you get a totally different perspective. It just depends on your life experiences. Sure. I think the seed never goes. In the sense of, I feel like people genuinely, they try to bury it a lot, but I think generally after years, after 40, 50 years, they still have this sort of thing saying, you should have done that, okay? Or like, maybe try it again, or maybe try it differently. So that seed, that kind of twinkle in your head and that voice in your head never really goes, but you try to bury it. You bury it. And that's what people do. They bury it. And then because they buried it, they're still consciously kind of thinking about it. So when they see someone else achieve it, their mind is just fully on there because it's saying, that's mine. That should be mine. But it's like you didn't take action. So I think that one of the main things, and a lot of people that I speak to recently are the ones who have had the seed, but they've continued to bury it. And then when you have to open up with the conversation with them, and then they start thinking, they're like, yes, I've always wanted to do this, or I've always wanted to try this, or I've always wanted to move abroad. I've always wanted to kind of just not be in a relationship for 1 year and just live my life. People have these thoughts and they bury it. And because they bury it, they settle. And that settling is the opposite of expanding the potential, because you're just settling. And your barriers were set there. And then something happened here and you settle, and then something happened here, you settle, and then you settle and you settle, and eventually your barrier that was once there, it goes down. So that's why I said you need that constant reminder of your goals and what you want to achieve, because it's easy to settle. It's so easy to settle.
Oh yes, is I mean, I think that I equate, I mean, like settling, and I'm sure that you heard about this thousands of times,
Yeah.
is people staying in their comfort zones.
Yeah.
I mean, and what happens? You are in your comfort zone, and it feels very cozy, very comfortable. Everything is hanky dory, pinkish, and but what happens is that there is no growth. Nothing happens. Nothing ever grows or expands in that comfort zone. You have to break through that in order for it to their growth and expansivity and creativity and all the rest. Nothing happens in that settling
It's just
comfort
the same
zone.
way, isn't it? If you lived in your same hometown that you were born, and over the years, let's say you've lived a life of 40 years old, from the day you were born to 40 in that same hometown, obviously things has improved. Obviously, there's a new shopping mall now. There's, there's fancy things around, and there's a new park that's opened up, or there's a new theme park that's opened up. But that's all you think is improved. And in that zone of your hometown and your comfort, all you're seeing is, wow, this has improved so much. This is amazing. But if you move, if you go to a different place or you go to a different city, you'll see that it's so much grander than you could ever imagine. So it's kind of just, when you're outside of comfort zone, there's so many opportunities that you never thought once existed. Because previously, before social media, if you don't travel, you would never know what other countries experience, right? And you would never know how the other people live, and how people in different cities live, and how their lifestyle is. But now we are so much more aware. So it's so much more easier, I think, for people to step out their comfort zone. And I think it's needed to get that new perspective. It's to gain that new perspective and gain those new opportunities, because you just stick in your one place, the opportunities die down eventually. So it's kind of, getting out there with the opportunities.
Yes, and I think that I share with you that I lived in the UK for about 15 years, and when I look at that opportunity, because being in the UK, then you are within proximity of the rest of Europe, and you can travel very easily. And that gave me, and there's one thing, Sandy, that we will not find in any book. I mean, you can pick up any geography book or any history book or anything, but you will not find the experiences that you have by being in the place. I can read 1,000 books about the Sistine Chapel in Italy and the Colosseum and everything, and I can see beautiful pictures. I mean, beautiful, but until you are there in the midst of it, and you can see the splendor of looking at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and looking with your own eyes, then you will not be able to realize the beauty of it. So it's just.
Yeah, and I think, sorry to interrupt you, but I think also with your goals, right? So if, let's say, you live in a certain place, and you want, let's say, an office in the city, okay, the office in a big skyscraper building, you want that. We can only imagine things we've seen. Okay, our brain has the only capacity to imagine things we've seen. You can't think of a new color right now because you've not seen a new color. So we can only see what we've seen before, and kind of what we see in movies, and mix everything together. So it's really important, and this comes into one part of the proximity thing, where if, let's say, you aim to live in this certain location, or have an office in a certain location, or work there, I encourage a lot of people to just go spend a day there, to just sit outside the coffee shop of this building that you want to work in, sit outside, the place of the house that you want in the future. Go stare at it, because what you're able to do is first of all, get the energy of that place and make yourself used to it, because it will be uncomfortable the first time you go there. You're looking at this tall building and thinking, I want an office on the top floor, but it's like, I've got nothing to my name right now. So how am I going to have the office on top floor? But you sitting at the coffee shop opposite this building, it becomes closer to you and more comfortable to you. And the more comfortable it is, in the sense, it's better then, because then you feel like you can have it. And that belief is then reinforced. So I always encourage people, and I always do this. Each month I take my car, I go on a little road trip, wherever my next destination leads me. And I just sit outside and I look at the people living there. I really take everything in. And what I used to do for a very long time, when I wanted this office building to work in, I used to go to the coffee shop and I just look at everyone around there and say, oh, wow, so they dress like this. They talk to people like this. This is their social circle. Okay, cool. This is midday and they're having a lunch for 2 hours. It means that they're quite up in their business, that they don't have to be in the office, for certain hours in the day. They can have lunch for longer. So you get to see the lifestyle, and then you start becoming that. And the more you see it, the better it is. So if you aim to, let's say, move from New York to LA, go to LA for a drive, like go for 1 day or 2 days, whatever you can afford. But just sit there and just watch, or go to something similar.
That's right. It's like, I love what you're saying, because it's just immersing yourself into that environment, because you begin to absorb the energy of that environment. And that energy could be a very positive energy. And it says, okay, well, this is what I want to be, because I am fully energized in this place. Or it could be a very negative and toxic energy. And you said, hey, I want to get the heck out of here as quickly as possible. And so, yes. And so that is the topic of proximity. And when it comes to proximity and leadership, and proximity and the success that you can achieve, I mean, how is that then, that proximity be of value to a person?
So as a leader, again, as a leader, everyone is a leader in their own right. You don't have to be a business owner to be a leader. You're a leader of your household, leader of your friendship groups, leader of everything. As a leader, the main thing is that you're sharing a vision, right? You're sharing where the long-term vision is, what you're doing. Now, because the process of point A to point B and where you want to be is a long, long process, as a leader, you have to develop yourself. Now, leaders are creative. They're able to think. They're able to be visionaries. They're able to motivate. They're able to inspire. So you have to, like I said, work on yourself in order to do all of these things. Now, when proximity comes into it, it comes in two elements. One is you get this inspiration, this creativity. And I actually just want to talk quickly about the difference between inspiration and motivation, if you allow me to do that. So,
sure.
So inspiration is when external, right? You see others, you get inspired. You see their body type and you're like, I want that body type. You see someone's house and you're like, I want that house. It's inspiration. You listen to music, you get inspired. Then once you get inspired comes motivation. You're motivated to achieve whatever you've seen or whatever you've been inspired by. Inspiration, you can't be de-inspired by anything. Okay, so if someone is talking about their life that is not a life you want, right? And you can't be de-inspired because it just means that you're not inspired. Okay, it doesn't de-inspire you. What can happen though is demotivation and motivation. So because you're seeing something externally, you're inspired by it, you come back and think, okay, I want to aim for that house. I'm inspired to get that house. I need finances. I need to save this much money. I need to make sure that this is in order so I can move there. Then comes motivation to do these things. But then the demotivation can occur where it's like, I don't know if I'll be able to get this house. Your self-esteem goes down, your self-doubt goes down, and all of these things. So because inspiration is what sparks everything, as a leader, you need the spark constantly because you need inspiration constantly. So one of the main ways, like I said, is the proximity elements of you going to a place or you socializing with people who are thinking this way, having this sort of mindset, right? So you put yourself in that position, in that environment. And the other one is about the people that you surround yourself with. So you are the 5 people closest to you. Jim Rohn said that very, very clearly and said it very clear. But now I want to talk about more social media, because you can have your closest 5 family members that you talk to the most, but do you really talk to them the most? Do you really consume their content the most? Because nowadays we're consuming other content. We're consuming the news channels, right? We're consuming whatever that is coming on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. So it's important to be aware on what you're consuming as a leader. If you're consuming constant negative news or constant people feeling down and people not feeling motivated, then what's going to happen? You're going to be in that same situation. So I always say, find people in each category of your life that you want to talk to about certain things as a leader. So, for example, if my health goal is, let's say, to just be active, I just want to go for runs, for example, right? But another one of my friends just wants to lose fat. That's it. Our goals are different. My lifestyle is constant runs. Hers would probably just be 2 weeks of diet, I'm done, right? So even though we're both wanting health goals, our goals are different. So she can't be my health coach or my health partner because we have different visions of that. So it's really important to have people in different categories. Someone who I look up to for, let's say, wealth and ask for wealth advice, they could be horrible in their relationships. So I don't want to listen to them when it comes to relationships. So I segment people in that way and have your special person for each category. Have your special person for health that you will go to purely for health. You can talk about the rest of the things, but you don't have to, listen to their advice for those sort of things. So go for them purely for health. Go for people purely for, let's say, relationship advice. Those who you think have nurturing, enriched relationships, but they could be horrible at their health, but their relationships are still great, right? So go to them. Have your people for wealth. Who are your business mentors, your business goals? Whose content are you consuming where you appreciate them in their business life, not necessarily their family life? And then people who are just doing other things, like hobbies that you want to achieve and things you want to achieve. So have people for each category. And I think one person, and always a lot of people think that the person they're in the relationship with is the one that needs to satisfy all these 4 areas. You don't have to, you need different people for different categories and different areas. And that's why there's so many people out there doing different things. And I think that is one of the main things I found. I have my people for each of these categories, which means that when I talk about health, I accept your opinion and no one else's opinion. And I don't want to hear the person's opinion when it comes to this, because I don't value you in this category. And I don't.
That's right. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you do not value the person. It's like you don't value their content in a particular. It's like, if you're going to get advice for relationships, and you go to a person, who had 10 divorces, then that's not a great person to go and ask for relationship advice. So we have to be wise but it doesn't necessarily mean that person who had 10 divorces, you think less of themselves as a valuable individual. But in that particular area, I guess they need to keep growing or becoming more aware of that.
Well, 10 divorces could have been because they were focused on business, right? So it could have been, I want to know what your wealth is. I want to know, why, how have you gained this wealth? And maybe they have a problem of managing business to personal life. And you want a balance in all areas of your life. You don't want a wholesome person is one who can have balance in all of the areas in life and still succeed in all of these areas. There's certain times in life where maybe one area is succeeding than the rest. And this is why I kind of done my inner development program, like I said, Circle Power, because I want each area to still be enriched. I don't want people to just think, this is one area, I need to choose this, and this is the only thing I can do. It's like, no, because once you have achieved your wealth, who are you going to spend it with? You'll have no one left around you. So you need to develop all those skills simultaneously.
Exactly, that's right. When it comes to leadership and victimhood, I heard some time ago, Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma is, I don't know if you heard of him. He's an author, and he wrote a wonderful book. I mean, The Leader Who Had No Title. I mean, because leadership is not titles. And so he gave a very great comparison about you can either be and do things towards being a leader in your life, or to be a victim in your life. But you cannot do both. I mean, you cannot be a leader and a victim at the same time. Either you are a victim or you are a leader. And it's just taking responsibility. I mean, not only for your own success, but for your own journey in life, for your just to lead yourself, to motivate yourself, to inspire yourself. And I think that those and when it comes to accountability, I mean, when it comes, I mean, to being accountable to other people. I mean, if you want to achieve success and you want to develop or replace a habit and install a new habit in your life that you think that is going to benefit you, just get an accountability partner. Get someone, I mean, that you can just don't go out into the streets and pick up the first person that you see. I mean, just choose someone with whom you have developed some trust and trustworthiness with.
Partner can be with those certain areas, right? So your health goals accountable is kept by your health friend. Your wealth accountability is kept by your wealth friend. So you can have your different friends or different people, different relationships that you build for each of those sections, and they can keep you accountable. But to keep yourself accountable as well, it comes a lot from you acknowledging and you seeing yourself in third person sometimes, and you kind of go very, very good at giving people advice, but then sometimes with your own selves, you know, you're like, oh, do I really have these problems? And sometimes you neglect the issues that you have yourself. So it's very important to kind of see yourself in third person. And you talked about victimizing, right? And I think it was easy for me to fall into that trap. You know, I left my home country. I don't have my friends. I was not able to succeed. You know, I'm constantly fear of my life. All of these things. It's easy to victimize yourself, but it's also important to change the narrative, change kind of what you're saying. So the words you're using, change that narrative, you know, and say, okay, I've been given this passion challenge. I have been put into this position, and now it's my little challenge to go and succeed and show the world I can do it. Change the narrative that comes with it. And I think that will stop the victimizing, and that will increase the accountability as well, because you're able to see yourself from third person and analyze yourself as an individual.
You know, I said to you, I mean, I guess even before we went live, that I have been following Tony Robbins, and one of the things that Tony Robbins mentions, which is in alignment with what you just said about changing your narrative, he says is you have to change your story. You know, every person has a story, and it could be a story that I haven't done much in my life, that I don't have enough education. I am too young. I am too old. I am not in the right neighborhood. I am not in the right city. I am not in the right country. Whatever that story is, if you want to succeed, if you want to have a paradigm shift in your thinking, the first thing you have to do is, like you said, change your narrative, change your story. Don't stay in the same story, because if you stay in the same story, nothing is going to happen. It's just going to be the same old story today, tomorrow, and next week.
Yeah. And what happens with a lot of people is they play this story on loop, in the sense of, oh, this has happened to my life, and this is, and it's on loop. And when it's constantly on repeat in your mind, obviously you're going to have self-esteem issues. Obviously you're going to go down to a spiral of possible depression. Obviously, you know, because you're playing this victimizing, or, you know, and sometimes people don't realize they're doing this. And that's the bit that, you know, I think that's when coaches come into play and these things into play. People don't realize they do it sometimes, and it's not their fault, but it's constantly the thoughts of, this is what's happened to me. My life is constantly like this. And then you get yourself into a loop. And then you stop expanding your potential because you think that's it. You think that's far, and this is the box I'm in, and this is the box I'm living in.
That's exactly right.
Box behind it that you've not seen. Yeah.
Yes, and then you go down into the level of victimhood and becoming a victim, I suppose. And once you enter into that victim mentality, then it's like, I mean, like a depressing loop going down, spiraling down, as opposed to moving up.
Yeah.
But listen, Sandy, as we are coming to the end and wrapping this dynamic discussion,
I've really enjoyed it.
I would like, as I normally do, I would like to ask you, I mean, a couple of 2 questions. And the first one is, for Sandy Gill, I mean, what is your definition of success? What is success for you, Sandy?
Success for me is when I know I have done my best. And I think for a lot of people, is like, what does that mean? But I know for me, right? So I know when I have given my all in every situation and I have inspired others. I think for me, if I could just inspire people and make sure people have the shift in their thinking and get them out of the zone and expand their potential, like I said, achieve the things that they should be achieving in the first place. For me, that's what success is. And being able to have the opportunity to present in locations, you know, for me, these are kind of my life goals of presenting internationally and doing all of these things, and having a close family and a close knit support system that I can give back to. So for me, it's many different parts. One of it mainly is that I know I've done my best, that I know I've done my potential, like I've done it, you know.
Excellent. Yes. And the second question is, what does it mean for you to live a limitless life? What is a limitless life for you?
So this is when it comes to the whole story and kind of what's happened. I think if you don't live your life and you have restrictions, okay, and you're not thinking that there's so much more, if you have restrictions in your life, then you're not seeing all the possibilities that you can achieve. And for me, living a life of just restrictions and thinking you can't achieve everything, it is a life not worth living, because then you are not getting all the opportunities that you deserve in this lifetime. And like I said, my whole life mission is to prove to myself that, you know, I was once probably restricted to this opportunity and now I'm going out there to get this opportunity. So it's really important for me to share with everyone that if I'm going out there, you know, publicly on the internet, when I was once living in fear, you can do it too. And living that life of pure freedom, and freedom of your thoughts, of your negative thoughts and negative thinking, just pure freedom.
Excellent. You know, that answer, that reminds me, and I forgot to mention it before, but I'll do it now, is that, you know, the only limitations that we can have as human beings is the limitations that we ourselves impose on us.
Yeah.
Those are the only, but outside of those, there are no limitations in the universe. I mean, we can do whatever we believe that we are born to do, and we are fully resourced to do that.
Responsibility. Yeah, that's when it comes to taking responsibility, because you need to know the only reason you can take responsibility is if you have control. So it's kind of making everyone realize that I actually have control in what I do. You know, I actually have control in my life. The government has some play in it sometimes, but I have some control in my life, you know. And that's why you take responsibility, because you have the control.
Excellent. Now, before we finish, I want you to share with everybody, if anybody wants to get in touch with you or contact you for whatever reason, how are they able to do that?
Yeah, just so you can email me at s.gill, GILL at circleofpoweracademy.com, or you can just like us on our page and message me there, and I'm sure I'll be available. And I'm sure you've kind of tagged me on my post as well, so you can reach out to me on Facebook. And
Sure.
I'm happy to kind of just share my story to anyone, and also make you realize a bit of your potential, and make you realize that there's something probably there, and that seed that you need to grow.
Excellent. Well, I tell you, I am so appreciative, of having this opportunity, to talk to you, to have this conversation. And I know, it's not that I hope, I know that this content is going to be very valuable to the people who watched us and will watch later. This is absolutely a gold gem of information and really great insights. And so thank you so very much. And to all of you, you know that I don't finish any broadcast without reminding you to live every moment. Hey, listen, as Sandy said, when opportunity comes, just grab it, because is that little seed inside of you. Just keep nurturing it and keep fertilizing. Get that seed into an oak tree. Okay. And so live every moment, be resilient, and also be kind, be passionate, be intentional, and be responsible for your own success. And be well, my friends. Thank you very much. Until the next conversation, all the very best. And thank you, Sandy. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
You too.